Hello guys, welcome to another video. So let's have a look at NASDAQ and see if we can't have any trades currently, because remember we looked at this one on Sunday and I did tell you guys that you must look out for this zone here. You must look out for this zone because it has a potential of pushing the price all the way to the downside. So if you haven't watched that video, just make sure that you check it out first before you watch this one, because this is going to be a follow-up analysis from what we discussed that side. So let's get started. All right, so this is what we have on monthly. We're not going to waste time here because the structure looks exactly the same as to what we had in the previous video. So basically, the price is outside the trend line, but it hasn't moved, higher than the zone, the actual zone. It hasn't moved higher than the actual zone. So basically, the price currently on monthly, yes, the trend line has been defeated in terms of, the bears have been having a nice ride to the downside, but currently they failed to defend their trend line, which means they allowed the bulls to break the trend line and push the price to the other side. But the bulls haven't fully won the battle because of what? There is a resistance that they need to remove. They have only removed the trend line, but so far they're on the right track. But just because on the monthly it says that the bulls have got the upper hand, they can push all the way up, does not mean that even on the smaller time frames the price would move like this all the way to the upside. That's not how the price moves, because that's why even in the previous session I was able to say to you that you need to make sure that you are, you don't trade against this weekly area of resistance there, because it's very strong. It has a potential of pushing the price to the downside, and you can see currently the price is doing exactly that. So what we have here is that the price is inside resistance, but the bulls, they're very, very strong. I mean, last month they formed this strong bullish candlestick. The previous month before that one, the bears tried to say, let's defend our resistance. We're having a bearish rejection candlestick here, but they failed to keep on dropping to the downside. They allowed the bulls to come back, but the bulls haven't won for as long as they don't break that zone. So currently we're inside the resistance. We have broken the bearish trend line on the monthly chart, and then this is the weekly chart where I'd said to you guys that there's a very, very strong possibility that this zone is going to hold, this one here, because as much as you are excited, you see the price flying and you are in profits, but it does not mean that the price should just continue like that. It's very important that even when the price is moving in your direction, you are able to manage your trades, do something with your stop losses, tighten them, exit some of your trades, because now you are touching a very strong area of resistance. I did warn you about this zone because of what? And I said to you, it is fresh, meaning that since it was formed, the prices never went back to test it, and it's the one that was formed during the previous trend and pushing all the way to the downside, breaking this previous structure there. So it's a very strong zone. Right now the price is going back to the same zone for the first time. We do understand that on this time frame the price, yes, is bullish, but it does not mean if the price is bullish it should move like this. The same way when the price was bearish, it was not moving like this. In between you'll have the pullbacks like that. That's how price moves. You are bullish, but you can have a very deeper pullbacks in between. So now we are at a very sensitive area where I told you that, guys, look out for this area here. Make sure that you search for trades to go to the downside, because of what? It's a very strong zone. Yes, we are going up, but it's a very strong zone, and it is found inside that monthly one, which is why it has a potential of what? Trying to push the price to the downside. So if you're looking at the structure that we're having here on weekly will suggest that the price is headed all the way to this zone or to this trend line. Whichever one is hit first, the price is gonna go there, somewhere around there. So but remember, it might not go all the way until that point, because keeping in mind we are still bullish, and when you are bullish you'll have the impulse moves moving to the to the upside, then you'll have the pullback and then impulse. So when you are bullish, the thing with the pullback is that it's very tricky. You can have a very small pullback or you can have a very deeper pullback. So even now we are saying, if we're looking at the structures, yes, we do have a chance of pushing until somewhere there. But even if the price was to maybe push, play around there and continue, that's also fine. But do we remember, the bottom line is that I told you that when you're touching this zone, it's not gonna be easy. Like, it's not gonna be easy for the bulls to just pass it like it does not even exist. Like, no ways. You see? So that's why I was saying to you that when you get there, make sure that if you're holding your buy trades, it's either you're gonna close or you're gonna tighten the stop losses, but look for selling trades from there. But currently, yes, we are bullish, but we are, most probably going to have a pullback, and by the look of things, maybe it will go there before taking off, or even break the structure and move to the downside. Because of what? Keeping in mind that on the monthly chart, you are right inside the resistance, and the best can still what? Let's go to the downside. The same thing, they managed to break this support here. They can still try and push down towards the next one. It's very possible. So that's why I'm saying here on the weekly, we are touching a resistance that is most likely going to give us a pullback towards that. It can break, it can go up, it can have a smaller pullback, but what we're seeing now is that this one is definitely not going to be passed easily. Then let's check what we have on daily. You can see there is our weekly zone there at the top. When we're having the session, I did tell you that guys, the weekly zone that you're seeing there at the top, yes, I do understand we are having a nice ride to the upside, but what goes up at some point will have to come back to the downside. So that's why it's very important that even if you are riding a nice wave to the upside, you need to be able to identify a level where you will say, okay, I do understand that we are moving up nicely, but where exactly am I planning to get off this train? Because I cannot just get on a train, but I don't know where I'm going. I'm just going to move around and then it comes back again. Because remember, even a train, it moves like this. At some point, it will come back to the same station. So that's why even when you are trading, if you don't know where you are going, the price will even come back with you where you started. So it's very important that when you are riding a wave, you know where you are going, you know where your target is. So that weekly resistance there at the top was a very, very strong area where you had to make sure that when the price gets there, you do something. So currently here on daily, the structure is still very much the same. We're still bullish because we can put a bullish trend line there. Let's put a proper one just so that we can see if the price is touching it. So this is our bullish trend line here on this time frame, the daily bullish trend line. So we are bullish, we are touching a trend line, but the price can bounce from the trend line, yes, but even if you are bullish, you are touching a bullish trend line, meaning you have a chance of bouncing from there. But you also need to be very, very careful with that, because you are coming from a weekly area of resistance. You are inside monthly area of resistance. Here we are talking about daily bullish trend line. So it's you there with your daily structure trying to fight the monthly and the weekly. Monthly. So you need to make sure that you understand that you are going against the bigger structure. You need confirmation for that, because right now, because remember what you saw on weekly, saying that the weekly can go for a deeper pullback towards the weekly area of support, right? Let's go back to weekly so that I can show you exactly what I mean by that. Let's put a horizontal line here and say this is the weekly area of support, this one here that I marked before, right? Now let's go back to the daily and say that based on what we saw on weekly, weekly has a potential of coming down towards this. But obviously it might not just do this, it might play there, but it does have a potential of going there. It's a pullback, it might not get there, but if we were to look at the opposing structures on that time frame, from resistance to support when the price is dropping, right? So that's why even when you are on this daily, if the price, if you feel like the daily trend is going to hold, the pullback that you're talking about, or the one that we predicted previously, is not going to be a deeper one, and you want to take a buy, remember I'm saying yes, you can take your chances there because you are at a bullish trend line, but keeping in mind that you're fighting the bigger guys. If you lose there, don't say, but what happened? Why did this be broken? I'm telling you now, the price is coming from a weekly resistance. There's a high chance of that it's gonna violate this trend line. Yes, it can hold, the trend is still going up, but if it gets violated, the trend line, then you'll mean now daily is no longer going up, that weekly resistance seems like it's holding, then maybe you can get your pullbacks. Now it will increase the chances of the price getting there. But also you need to keep in mind that on this time frame, there's also this guy here that you need to make sure that when you're taking your sell trades or you're holding your sell trades already, you need to make sure that when the price gets there, it might still cause it to go back and then it might cut this pullback short and continue going to the upside. So that's why if you're on daily, you need to identify this guy as opposing structure as well. But for now, this guy here is going to have it a very tough challenge to try and keep the price above the trend line because of where the price is coming from. You can see all these rejection candlesticks at that zone. The sellers kicked in and then they pushed to the downside. The bulls at the trend line will try to push back up. They can try, but their chances of winning, they are very slim. Yes, they can reverse the price, but we need to get confirmation before we can take a buy trade from there. But otherwise, the prediction that we made of the pullback from that resistance, you can see it's playing out now. So let's check what we have on H4. We do know that we are coming from a weekly area of resistance, and now we are at the daily bullish trend line, which is this one here. This is the daily bullish trend line that we are saying we will see if the price is going to break, right? So we can see already you removed this, and on this time frame, if we are to mark a zone, right, we will say that we were very much bullish and the price had a bullish trend line on this time frame. And once it tapped into that zone, remember on Friday when the market closed, it did tap into the zone and then it opened with a gap, slight gap to the downside, but that did not do anything. It was just a pullback, and then the bulls still tried to push against that weekly resistance, and then that's when on daily you had the daily bearish pin bar, right? Remember, now the price is giving you this, which is what? Bearish engulfing. So basically this suggests that the bears are becoming very aggressive there. They are at their zone, a weekly resistance, and there's a lot of them there. They are going to try and challenge these bulls that have been, pushing all the way to the upside. They're going to try and challenge them. That's why we can see all of a sudden there's something that's pointing towards the bears, which is what? Bearish engulfing. And when that happened, remember on daily we had what? Bearish pin bar, which means there's a high chance of the bears winning there. I mean, look, you are trying to sell from H4 and the H4 is saying to you there is a bearish engulfing, meaning there's a very strong momentum to push to the downside. Okay, fine. Do I have anything to back that up? On daily, I can say I've got daily bearish pin bar. On weekly, I can say price is at resistance. You see, there's a lot of force or pressure pushing to the downside. That's why this bullish trend line was removed, and then this support was removed, and then currently H4 is bearish, and we even managed to push all the way to the downside towards daily trend line. And we even took out another support here at this swing low here. So now we are saying our H4 is bearish. So should the price bounce and go back up, you need to understand you're on H4, and if you're on H4 and H4 is bearish, and then maybe you want to take a sell from there. But the challenge now would be that we are now coming from a daily bullish trend line, H4 resistance. You need what? Confirmation, because I do understand you still have that backup from the weekly area of what? Resistance. So if you want to increase your chances now, because remember we said the pullback on weekly seems like it might be a deeper one, meaning the price might just play there, but it does have a chance of pushing to the downside throughout the week. But if you want to increase your chances of that happening, I would say let's take out this guy. Let's remove this guy. Let's remove this trend line to say that, oh, it's not only H4 that is bullish already, even daily is bullish. Maybe if the price was to take out this, remove that, then we'll say, okay, now we can have a deeper pullback like that. So that's why if this guy is removed, then we are trying to join them and hope that it will do like that. So because you can see, we predicted from there already it has reached what? The first stop, which is what? You are selling, you have reached what? A bullish trend line, and a bullish trend line on daily, and daily is still bullish. So you cannot ignore that, the fact that daily is bullish and you're touching a bullish trend line. So that's why you need to do what? Set up your take profits there. But we are saying now, should this bullish trend line be broken, because yes, we are bullish, we are at the bullish trend line, there's a possibility of the price reacting from it and going up to at least until there. That's very possible. But for me to trust that that is possible or might happen, I will need the bulls to work a bit harder, because of what? The odds are against them. The odds, the fact that we are coming from a weekly area of resistance. We are inside the monthly area of resistance. There's a lot of big guys pushing to the downside. So that's why for short term, if I wanted to take a buy from this and maybe target that, I will need a proper confirmation there for me to do that, or else I'll just wait to see the break of that, and then I'll say, oh, the best, I have now gained full control. Then I can just join them like that, continue pushing to the downside. So let's check what we have on H1. So this is what you have on H1, keeping in mind that, okay, now the zone has disappeared. Let's just put a horizontal line where the weekly area of resistance starts and say there's the weekly area of resistance. We can remove that and go down to H1. So that's where we have the weekly area of resistance there around 13,169, and it was tapped on Friday. Remember, look at this move from here to there. Look at how smooth it is. But all of a sudden, we close there, but then we open here. Look at the gap to the downside. Because of what? The area that we are in. It's not like when we're still coming here, we are in the middle of nowhere. There's no sellers nearby. Now we have reached their zone. They will try and kick in and try and defend that zone. That's why we had the gap. And they tried to push down, but they didn't break anything. They just moved the price until the bullish trend line on this time frame, and then the bulls came in again, pushed a bit higher, breaking the structure. But that doesn't change the fact that you're only breaking the structure on H1. But on the bigger guys, we are still back at the weekly area of resistance. When we are there, that's when on H4, around this zone, that's when on H4 we got what? We got H4 bearish engulfing, which is this one. I hope you still remember. On H4, the confirmation that the sellers are now kicking in was bearish engulfing. On daily, we talked about what? Bearish pin bar. On weekly, we talked about weekly zone, the zone. And then on monthly also, it's a zone. So that's why when you are here, you are like, when I'm seeing my big guys, we are still bullish. We have a bullish trend line there. But now all of a sudden, because on H4 there's this engulfing, chances are that this bullish trend is not going to hold, because here's the support, right? The support is on H1, and H1 is bullish. This is a good area for you to take a buy trade. Okay, fine. Let's see what happened there at that zone. The price did tap into the zone, and you can see the reaction until somewhere there. But they are failing to keep on doing what? Higher highs. Because of what? At that point, the pressure was so high that the sellers are not ready to give up. As much as you're still bullish, you are trying to react from a support. But at that point, even H4 said there's bearish engulfing. Daily said bearish pin bar. So that's why the zone ended up saying, no, I quit. I give up. I'm not going to succeed in pushing up and breaking the structure. You see, that's when even on H1 you started getting what? The sellers kicking in, changing the trend. You became bearish, and then you moved to the downside, breaking the support, breaking the bullish trend line. H1 became bearish, and then we tried to go up. They only went until this area there, and then they dropped again, and then they still went to the same area, and then they formed what? Bearish pin bar at that zone. Then that's when it pushed all the way to the downside, breaking structure, and breaking structure. You see, because there was a lot of pressure to push to the downside. That's why the buyers are now saying, we are trying, but we can't. We are failing to maintain the trend now because of what? Like I'm saying, if the price is moving in your direction, don't get too excited to a point where you forget the stop signs, or that you forget where the price is going to struggle to pass. Because if you do that, it's going to be very difficult for you to know where you're supposed to exit and where you're supposed to place your take profits, because you'll be holding your buy trades and think the price will just keep on going up and up. Now, before you know it, the price is back where you started. You had maybe all these 3,000 pips going to the upside. You did nothing about that. You didn't manage your trade well because you were thinking the price will continue going up. Ignoring the fact that there's a weekly area of resistance here, which is very fresh, and all of a sudden you see the price coming all the way down towards your entry point. It won't be nice having all those pips being taken away. So now we are saying currently we are at this, and we know very well this is a daily bullish trend line, daily still bullish. And I said if you wanted to buy from this, you'll need to get proper confirmation for that, because now there's a lot of pressure pushing to the downside. So if you are someone that likes a risk, like those risky trades, right, you will just say currently we are at a bullish trend line. If I see the price struggling to pass there and there are signs that the bulls are kicking in, I'm not saying they are kicking in just to take over and continue breaking structures all the way to the upside. They can do that, but for now there's no sign of them doing that. So if I just see them trying to get some live and come in, I will just give them a chance until this and say what, this is my take profit, because of what, this trend is bearish. We have a bearish trend line there, we have a resistance there, so they can just have a pullback and then continue the same thing that they were here trying to push up, but it was just a pullback and then we continue. So we can just do the same thing. So that's if there is a sign of them kicking in and you feel like that is evidence enough for you to do what, to buy, then you can do that. But it's going to be a risky one. So I don't want to go a bit too low in my things, because the lower you move, the more riskier the trade gets. You see, even here, we don't have anything as yet. There's nothing that's pointing at the best, the bulls here. Because of what? They just had their bullish candlestick, didn't do anything. We're having a bearish what? Pin bar. Bearish pin bar. They still what? Bearish force to the downside. And then we are having this, which is what? Bearish engulfing. So currently, even on M15, we don't have a trade there. So you're still searching for your trade or any confirmation that you can get, maybe on your M15, H1, whichever time frame you trade on, but make sure that it's confirmation enough, because you can see even until M15 we don't have any trade there. They still sellers saying, I'm giving you pin bars, I'm giving you bearish engulfing, so they still want to continue pushing to the downside. So that, just look out for that. Should you get a confirmation, only target these guys here. If you don't get confirmation and the price breaks that zone, it will mean that now you're just selling, because we said we have a potential of what, pushing until the weekly area of support or the weekly trend line. Yeah, I think we can end it here, guys. I hope you are learning something from my videos, and if you turn the bell icon, at least when I make these uploads over the weekends or during the week, you can just watch them and make sure that when the price is playing out, you are searching for those opportunities that I'm sharing in this analysis. Because on the Sunday when I did the video, I made it very clear that this zone, watch out, and look what is happening now. Alright guys, if you haven't subscribed, please do so if you enjoy these videos and you find them useful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.